Hello everyone, thanks for coming. We are a gaming company and we look at big data, what is and what big data means to us. Basically we have around 8 million active users inside all of our games, and we're trying to see what they do and learn a little bit from what we see inside data in order to make the games better. And what does that mean is that every second we receive more or less 4,000 events of mainly everything that you're doing inside the games. 4,000 events per second means more or less 320 million per day. And big data for us, it's more or less about 3 terabytes of data a year. Right now we are at, I think, 5 or 6 terabytes, and we're trying to do analysis on all of that data to try and do better the games that we do. This is like a little slide talking about analytics and what kind of analytics you can do inside a company. So there are 4 stages depending on the maturity of your department. So the first one is just queries and reporting. So like basic stuff, you receive the events, you receive the information, and you're trying to do basic stuff with it. The second one is business intelligence, so a little bit more about KPIs and trends and what's going on inside the game. So like this is the basic stuff, but what we're trying to do with data is actually change the games, because looking at data, just looking at data, that's not something that we want to look at. We want to look at data to build better products and to help our players enjoy our games. So the next category is actionable insights. So what you are trying to do is look at data, and from that data, trying to transform that into some business problematics in order to help the people you work with. And the last one is predictive analytics, which is like the super mega fun stuff to do. Where you are trying to find out what your users are doing before they actually know what they are doing inside the game and what they're going to do. So I'm going to talk today about the third part, the actionable insights. I have 3 examples because it's the most funnier part. But if you have any question regarding predictive analytics or any other thing that we do, just come talk to me or to us. We are a few of them of us after the show, and we could share a beer and talk about it. So the first one is like a corporate-based improvement that we did inside the game. So it's about funnels. So for people that don't really know how those new games are working, more or less every game starts with what we call a tutorial. 5 minutes steps that teach you how to play the game, so that you can look into what are the different things that you can do inside the game, so you're guided. So everyone that has played a little bit some free-to-play games know it, because it's like you have a screen with a little character and you have some arrows that actually point out everything that you have to do inside the game step by step. So what we do is we monitor like all the steps inside that tutorial to know what people are doing, if people are dropping the game during the tutorial, and what are the steps that we can improve, and what are the things that we can do with that tutorial. So this is like a chart representing those funnel steps. So every line is an action inside the game, and the chart measures more or less how many users made it to each step. So from this, for example, well, it's not really readable, but you've got more or less 60 people that 60% of the people that entered the game that went through the tutorial. That means that at the beginning of that game, we were losing more or less 40% of people within the 5 first minutes of the game. So what we're trying to do is improve that tutorial in order to retain more people and make the game a little bit funnier. So if you look at that chart, there's 3 parts in it. The first one, which is that one, the second one, which is that one, and the third one, which is that one. So just a precision, every gap that there is inside between the lines, it's the number of people that we lost. So if we look at the first one, you can see that there's a huge gap between inside the black rectangle. So what we did was looking at those steps and looking what users were doing. We did a few transformations. We looked at some devices and what were people using to play. And we found out that the problem at that step was that people that were playing on old mobile devices like iPhone 4 or some kind of stuff were having a lot of crashes. So they were having a lot of crashes, so they were leaving the game, and they never returned, because in a free-to-play game, when your game crashes after 5 seconds, you don't actually come back. So we said to the team, be careful, there's a bug here affecting old devices, and people are leaving. So after that improvement, the funnels look like this. So you can see that inside the black rectangle, so that was the first one, that was the second one. So in the black rectangle, the gap is actually thinner, and we resolved that problem. The second problem that we had is that we know that inside that game, the tutorial is made about, you have to do 2 battles. It's a game about battling, so you have to do 2 battles. So what we looked at is that after correcting that bug, we were still losing around more or less the same thing, between 35 to 30% of the people that were entering. And we said, by looking at the results and at the data that everyone was doing, we saw that most of the people that we were losing were people that were actually losing the battles. So what we said was to our game designers, make the battle a little bit easier, because if we make the battle a little bit easier, people are going to come back. So this is the first phase, and you can see that between that one, which is more or less situated on the 60%, and that one, which is more or less situated, it's that one, sorry, more or less above 70%, 75%, we improved the games, so everyone is happy, and it's super cool. The second example is about another game that we have, which is Monster Legends, and it's more a user-based improvements. The thing inside those games is that you never know exactly the chance that we have is that we can change the game along the path. So for example, Monster Legends, which is the game with the screenshots, there are 2 main mechanisms. The first one is about battling, and the second one is about breeding. So having monsters, your own monsters, you breed them and you grow them as you go. At some point, we had some questions from the teams, the game teams. They're asking us, what should we do with the game? Should we add more content for the people that are doing battles inside the game, or do we have to add content and things to do for the people that are actually breeding their monsters and collectioning the monsters? We tried to think about various ways of doing it. First of all, we wanted to look at how many battles people were doing every day. We wanted to look at every number of breedings that people were doing every day, how many monsters they had. So we came up with a lot of ideas, but at the end we said, it's good to do all of this, but the main point of this is actually to know our players. So the best thing to know what our players are doing and what's the categorization of our players is actually to cluster them. So what we did was doing a clustering analysis, like studying 3 variables. The first one, which is the number of breedings a day. The first one, studying the number of battles, and the level of engagement of the users based on those 2 variables. So it's a little bit small, but the conclusion based on this was that there were more hardcore battlers than hardcore breeders inside the game, meaning that people that were fighting were people that did a lot of battles, and people that were breeding, they were doing some breedings, but not as hard as people that were battling. And the other thing that we saw looking at this was that if you look at the curve or at the points inside the breeding stuff, you see that people that are doing breedings are the most engaged users, meaning that they play the most the game. And again, that was a huge win for our users, because what users are looking for is actually enjoy the games. So we made them happy just by looking at data. And the last example is about a game-based change that we did. Like every company, we have a customer service department that is looking and analyzing what our players are actually saying to us. Our players can talk to us, so it's important for us to, more than looking at data, trying to look into what our customers are actually saying to us. Something that we did with this, and that we are doing with this, is that we are studying the messages that everyone is actually sending us, and we are analyzing every words and every sentences that are inside the emails to, first of all, get like a global sentiment of the people, meaning every time that we receive something, we're trying to see if the feedback that our users are giving us is negative, positive, or if it's just neutral, and someone is actually trying to say something like normal to us. For the example I choose, so we were actually doing a live ops inside the game. So we had a special event inside the games, which was like for the anniversary of the game. And during that period, we received a lot of tickets mentioning battles inside that games. And on the other hand, we also saw that by using like some methodology to study the number of words and counting the number of words that we were actually receiving, we saw that the word anniversary was coming up very often. So we combined the two. We combined the anniversary thing with the bad sentiment related to the battles, and we said, maybe there's some problem inside the game related to that island. We have the chance to have like an automatic system, which is called Majors, that sends email. So when we looked at it, in fact, we didn't look at it, but the system looked at it, and we received an email saying, be careful, a lot of people are talking about anniversary and battles, and the sentiment is negative, so maybe there's a problem inside the game related to that. So we talked to the customer support, we talked to the teams, and by actually looking at the game, we saw that there was actually a problem that the QA guys didn't solve, and in less than 24 hours, we actually changed the game, we published a new version, and people actually enjoyed the game and played a little bit more. So it's a win-win for everyone, for the company, for the game, for the players. And that's it for me. Thanks.